builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, the top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground's a thing or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in game 1 as well. It's so unexpected on what you have to do to survive these big zones. The big height is going to be tricky. We're alongside Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early, as you already see Queasy's trio already making a stamp on height. No surprise here, but let's go back into the ground. Look at the gravity of the situation that Flick and Thomas HD and Arnas are facing. Now Thomas HD and Flick have to go as a duo, Shio. This is not going to be easy because it is Savage and Dredda there at their front doorstep.
And Dredda actually gets hit by Flick's harpoon, so big shots and wow, pulled before the wall comes down. Siberia knocked down by Flick. That's a huge elimination for the points. Big for the mats too. This trio has been bleeding on low ground ever since Savage saw them. They haven't stopped the stinks. They haven't stopped the pressure. Sancho mentioned it. Their builds so low. Their teammate down, Anas, one of the clutch gods, not going to be there to see the end of the game.
Man.
And their builds are on fire. Luckily, it's metal. It's not bleeding to the floor just yet. It is. And they have to go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates. Oh my goodness.
This is not fine. This is not fine. Now the zone does pull their way, but they're going to have a tsunami of trios pushing right over them. And the one that's riding, surfing the top of that wave crest is Queasy's trio. They've already committed to this height here, but they have to go back and chop out who's holding it. And that was Podesai's trio who late rotated through.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of height here. It might be just one more floor that's connecting, but no. A quick drop down. Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho. This is going to be a very tricky zone for all these low ground teams to play. I'm worried for Savage. We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mats. So up on height, Queasy is still trying for it. Here comes the big retake. Blocked by a floor. He has to waterfall down. MXR was hit, though, by Trulex, and oh my god, he's completely down. Marine picks up Floki on low, but it looks like Queasy, Trulex, and Turkey have height again. The retakers on EU, they might be the best in the world in doing it, but their mission's not done yet. Kiriachi wants a piece of the pie, and he's going to the sky.
Denied by Trulex, though. They have height. Time and time again, the theme for this trio is holding on height. They already have a victory royale, and they're right now in second place. But we all have to keep an eye on the low ground. Revsguard and Dredda and Savage are still doing well. And when they're on their feet, they're not only going to get placement points, but the potential to rack up elims here. But the story is going to go back up to the height here as we focus on in. They've only had 3 eliminations, and they could hurry up. If they could get into the front, they could stop everybody that's trying to get to the front side of the storm and just get more and more eliminations. But look at how much this is so claustrophobic right now for Savage and Dredda. Revsguard on the sliver of HP, and now Savage without shield is going to retreat back into the shadows and just hope that the storm just gives them a moment just to breathe a little bit longer. It is the first place on the line, and there is that big sigh of relief as Savage gets a huge siphon from Marine.
He has the HP, but didn't grab the match. Revsguard goes down. Right now, we're in the underworld of this end game. Another big shot from Savage. He takes down Void and Dredda on the backside, but he's inside zone, getting tickled in the back, but it doesn't feel good right now. Savage down, and Dredda clapped. That entire trio's taken out. The bottom side of the zone has been invaded by the high and mid-ground teams. Queasy and Trulex, we didn't forget about you. Let's wrap up this game.
In a blink of an eye, they had low eliminations, but now look, they have 8 eliminations, and they're gonna get another one. 148 elo crash. You got greeted by the big shots right here, walking out of storm, and now Queasy's just gonna get enough of the little builds. It's a top 3 situation.
The 25 HP rock shot. Queasy, what a big strategy right there to get that elimination. After that, more elims and siphons come through. 2-man situation on height right now, but they're at the advantage. It's a 2v1. Snazy is back and looking to try to clutch this from low. He has lots of builds to work with, but the pinch is too strong from the height god team. Retakes, pressure, and strategy you can't expect. Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are amazing at this game.
13 eliminations and the victory royale. The adjustments are ringing true, and we're seeing what Height is doing in this meta. Last season, it was the low ground teams is getting these high number eliminations and the victory royale, but we're seeing that the air is a little bit cleaner on Height. They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Crazy's trio, Shio.
Yeah, and that was just such a strange game for all the low teams. It was so tough to play. Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Guys, I said it a couple games ago. These guys are the high ground kings, okay? I don't understand. They're not even in high ground, okay? It's like, all right, this is it, the tail of the competition. They're like, oh, yeah, look, there's a trio above us, no problem, yeah. The moment they start to move, that's it. Queasy, he's up there. Kiyachi was like, oh, yeah, I'd like high ground. That seems like a good idea. No, Queasy was like, no. Here. Stop. Don't move. And they were like, all right, sounds good, man. You got it, whatever. I don't understand, Reese. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how.
It was the chop play that really did it for them. Obviously, they saw they weren't on yet that fifth zone. They chopped it out. They managed to just get it from there. And like you said, you know, we did see Kirianchi's team going for that. But you noticed that I'm pretty sure Trulex had peppers at that time because he flew ahead. If not, he was just ahead of the game, flew up, took height from there. But one of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3-4 elims, pretty much none coming to moving. I think there was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long it feels like Savage's trio has been above. But looking at these guys, man, all season long, when we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, you know, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've like done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Like before that sort of run they started to have, it was always Queasy's the most unlucky player, always having hardware issues, never able to play out a tournament fully due to some issues. And now that they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
Ooh, that's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games left to go, so I want to kind of turn our attention to teams 4, 5, and 6 coming into this last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do to look and strike that #1 spot?
Well, I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent to remain at this point, right? All of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while. You know, you look at Stormy, right, Kiriachi and Tufuse. It's weird, I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory royale, right? They are still lacking that victory royale to sort of solidify themselves. And so maybe that's what they need to push themselves into contention.
Yeah, and you know, you said no critiques, and I totally agree with you on their team. They're really, really consistent, but just not managing to have those big games that they need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was the game where they didn't quite manage to pick up the victory round, game 1 today. So you know they were down kind of that 5th to 6th range, and you know for these guys they obviously want first, but I think top 3 is really where they're looking at right now. Yeah,
and Reason O'Reilly Vidal went down in 21st that game. Right, so they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they have dropped down to 5th. But look at who's taken over first place. Just 5 points in it, guys. 5 points in it. Queasy, Trulix, and Druki are now at the top of the standings. 3 victory royales, joining Norani, Reason, and Vidal in that free group. Like, this is some crazy stuff.
This is actually really insane, because I think this is the first time today that we've seen Resguard and Dret and Savage lose the first place slot. So, right, this is the first time they've gone down, but again, only 5 points between it. And man, if you look at this, you see Queasy, Trulex, and Jurki all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, 5th zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place becomes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want an auto-qual spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. They had that one victory yesterday, not been able to do much outside of that. I think a big disappointment here is Red Rush Exteriors and Mappy, who came into today in what, second place or something?
They were third,
third place, and now they're sitting in 12th, right? Things have really fallen off for them. They need to sort of pick things up. And Floki, Clement, and the Sipsos, to me, right, they're the second best team today. If you were just getting the standings from today, they've been like a top 3 team today, but because of their failings from yesterday, it is still an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, yesterday is a day that they probably won't want to talk about too much, to be honest. But, we have to when you look into the cumulative scores and, them in 14th right now. Definitely, that's still a huge achievement. But these guys were looking for a top 3 finish. Let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here. Flowis, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits, you've got to think that Flowis, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pop off a huge amount. And yes, they're currently in 20th, right? They're not in there. But again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So it's definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights. And the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So,
a little bit.
Not bad. Yeah.
Oh, man, boys. We only have 2 games left to go. It is a battle between first and second place. How is this all going to go? How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats, Fortnite fam. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho with Shy Wager. Back over to you, friends.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. 2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $1 million prize pool is at stake. And now, Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky, the only thing that concerns me is this split that they have. We saw in the qualifier stage numerous times somebody random just hiding and waiting out where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory. And look, bad sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment, looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Trulix is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Trulix. To make sure no one's flying in, he always ends up landing early because this kind of generator building is on the upside, a higher point of landing. So everyone else on their team, Queasy and Jerky, they end up going a lot lower. They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Trulix can be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feed to Nikov. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, Noah Riley, Vidil, Reason. I mean, this has to be the game to watch for them. Every time they have a good game, it's followed by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a first place, at least today. So patterns are correct. They could win this game and have a big showing. Meanwhile, at Craggy Cliffs, 11th game, Sancho, the fights don't stop.
This is going to be monumental for Chapix and Hidden Janus. They have to walk away from Craggy Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up. Right now, they slipped down 1 spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Chris, Vortex, Knight, the thorn on our champion's side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 EU finals had 3 victory royales, and we had 2 trios in this tournament here from Badil and Jerky's trio having already accomplished that. But there's still 2 more games left. We'll all have eyes on these engagements and, of course, our elimination feed.
Man, the slow burn type of game just kind of ruins the game plan for Chapix, Janus, and Hen. They like having control of the map as well as fighting this kind of big battle off spawn. It's going to be tough, Sancho. We're talking about they need this game is because they're in 8th place rolling in. About 90 points away from first place. They definitely need a double-digit elim win to catch up for the win. In terms of catching up, to top 3, they're about 30-ish points away. So once again, a game of a difference. They're going to disengage. Haven't seen this happen today yet. It did happen yesterday. They go for the fish. They're gonna be looking good so far. Gonna have less loot though overall and be bad on time. The last time they disengaged, I believe they had a little bit of a closer zone. This time we're going towards what looks like Holly or Slurpee. It's gonna be rough for them on rotate. They have to do this fast, and already I feel like Bodasai or MXR from Stealthy Stronghold is already on this island. Or my apologies, Bubak actually, who's landing over at Stealthy, and he's on this island. He's already fished up a little bit. I think Janice and Chapix know on the top right POV. They might hunt him down, but he's already leaving the island. And look at Chris in the water, the yellow arrows on the map. We're at Slurpee right now, but they're chasing down our previous FNCS champions. They're not letting them get away for free.
We're here at Slurpee to keep tabs on the 4th place team of Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos. The team that have just been having a really solid run, free rotations. Usually you have Slurp Factory contested here, and now going up against, that is Shadow's trio there, who are doing that Shantytown split. Now we have eyes here on the 2nd place team, who have been holding on to 1st place throughout the entire tournament, and they've just been kind of just putting in kind of like a points, like really solid, you know what I mean? But when you have the teams that have been putting in some astronomical numbers, some huge performances like Vidil and Queasy, who has just been just as consistent, but you're just seeing the 2 clashes of meta, Shiloh, right? The high ground and the low ground, and right now the high ground is just winning it out, and they have the advantage, but it's only by 5 points. So look at the gold number right now. That is just in this session, 118. On the other side, Queasy is at 136. So if Refsguard's trio could get those 5 points, they automatically close the gap in the cumulative leaderboard.
Absolute 5-point difference. At the same time, here is the catch up. We're fighting this fight on a brand new map. It looks like usually craggy cliffs. Now we're on that Flopper Island. Chapix, Janice, and Hen have all the high points, but Chris has actually made a little bit of a base on the right side. Gonna be looking for a shot, but he's playing it sneaky. They're not letting these guys extend these builds whatsoever, because they might be able to find Chris on his spot. Very smart from Vortex. As he does that though, gets bopped, low on shields. Janice down below 2, and he's almost down with no HP.
What a great adjustment from Chris trio. Last time they let this trio disengage to Flopper Island. This time they decided to take the fight to them right on the island.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be the wrap-up of the tournament as well. There's no point really for this trio to roll in and disengage. They're going to keep chasing down, but Chapix stops their chase at least a little bit. Knight's 1 HP too. If he drops down and sees him with a quick flick, he can end his big run too. He's going to stay sneaky. Meanwhile, because of this, there'll be enough relief of pressure for Janice to get revived back up. A medkit in play too. They're going to be looking fine for now. Once again, though, here. And these guys are already running through their meds and loot. Look at Chapix's inventory. This is not a Chapix loadout. Makeshift AR, blue pump. Finally find the sneaky man. Good night. Good night, literally. And that's gone. So these guys get to play their game out for the rest of game number 11. The thing is, though, they had to invest so much here. Look at all the hard mats. They barely got the fish, and zone's coming in.
It is vital for them to find a vehicle like you see a Gnosis Trio, put some chunker tires on that, which is a new introduction here in the season that just allows you to move like right over the terrain a lot faster. So they're going to sit there on Flopper Island, no doubt, hit up all the fishing holes. I've seen Thomas AC Flick and Gnosis here are going to visit this character to be able to buy a rift, and they're going to be able to move on through. It's so exciting to always see a rift. It just makes me so nostalgic. Oh, Rift to Ghost, I love you.
They'll be able to rotate fast. Meanwhile, Savage, oh my goodness, almost thrown off course. It's good.
It's a little, it's a little tough. The chunker tires, a little bit, the suspension's a little high, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were made to literally jump buildings, but Refsguard makes it happen. And while he does that, they're going to look for tags as well. This is a mobile surge of vehicle, and they're looking for it. They'll try to go for it. They'll move out. Refsguard will be able to heal and drive at the same time, or at least be in the car at the same time as he heals. Tulek, Squeezy, and Jerky, though. This is kind of the perspective. 2nd place and 1st, back-to-back. They got 2s. I think they'll look to just hit that bow shot with the pump shot. Yes, they combine it for the big surge tags, too. And that's going to be looking good for them. To get ahead of the competition.
Sometimes the Slurp Factory team used to go out into these fishing spots. They become fishermen for a bit. That's a big part of Kirachi's game plan. They have about 3 slots that's all dedicated to heals with floppers and mobility. If they had a spicy fish, that's what they use to overtake height. So that's why you found, you know, 2's way out there by themselves. So that's a great adjustment by Queasy's trio deciding to push, which has been so far a chill ride for that team coming out of Slurp Factory.
And if you're in the top 10 right now, you're also looking to grab mountains or grab Guardian posts. We saw a Nos at one of them. Refscar's going to be up towards the middle of the spire as well.
5 points, bro. 5 points. This is going, you know what I mean? That's what separates them from first place. And we already saw Queasy got another one, so it's actually 7 points, right? The elimination, 7. We have yet to get to that placement threshold in the top 25, so 7 points right now separating first and second.
Meanwhile, everyone's trying to catch up. They're kind of in a little bubble of their own, about 50 points ahead of everyone else. Nas, Flick, and Thomas, even the team all the way up top with Analyst and AZ, they need wins. They need wins right now to get all the way up top, but only one team can walk away with that victory royale. Only one team can really afford to push for double-digit elims and be safe at the same time. So Nas, Flick, and Thomas will try to. Gonna keep rotating away.
And I have to say, you know, Andalix, they're coming back slowly. They're in top 10. In the previous game, they moved up from 13th to 10th place. They have 190 points. They're slowly turning their fate. It's one of those teams, just like in the playoffs of any kind of sports. They're a veteran team. You don't want to see them. You know they're going to be a tough out if they're along their rotation. So no doubt, seeing an Andalix trio sitting in front of you, that's not good news for Anas, because that trio is going to continue on the rotations. As you see, Reason actually knocking Pizza in the feet.
Pizza going down. Reason feels like these guys are already hot off their step, looking to have another great game. Zyku-san and Jules, I would say one of the most surprising performances of this FNCS. Rolling in, they look so good on height. They look so good in their heat as well. They just lack that experience of control, but so far today, 7th place. They're right behind Flickanos Thomas and ahead of Janice Chapix and Hen. They're next to legendary names rolling in on one of their first FNCSs, you know, looking really good too. They're just having a very stellar performance. Excited to see how they look in future seasons. The games aren't even done today. If they figure out how to make up for their lack of experience, take more risks, they can get even higher on the boards today.
They didn't even make it into round 4 of any of the qualifiers, so they are progressing right. And you're right, if the career trajectory, if they decide to stay together as a trio, they could definitely keep having a better performance in the next finals.
Astroki looks like he's back up with Pizza and Ardit, so the full elimination didn't really come through. Savage, although, has kind of invested a lot into this game. Must be medkits or something that are already down, maybe big pots. Still has that stink bow, is going to be moving over.
Ooh.
Wait for the threshold, wait for it, wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Boom,
Okay.
214. We learned the lessons, yep.
Yes, yes.
They're looking real good. 214 above, and they still have chances to do more damage. Who's right next to him? Yeah, but it's Fast Roki. They don't like letting a trio getting away for free. Fast Roki, a lot of the times, if they're down on Surge, they like having these box fights, but I don't feel like in the last 2 games they're going to be playing that super risky.
Just showing you there, they take a lot of like moments here to fight this engagement. You have Wakey's trio out there, you have Vidil's trio just a little bit further, so this wedge is already being filled with big names of the EU region, and 7 points is all they need right now. So that number gets to 222, they catch up to Queasy. Placement points haven't been doled out. 5 points we're going to be doled out in about 4 places, and the lobby focus is coming in. This is 2nd place here on the ropes. They might get KO'd, and that's Noah Riley applying pressure on the other side. That's Asterios applying pressure on the other side. Here comes the stink. The gas may be a little too dense for them, and Dreda now down without any shield on the sliver of life. Savage is on the same way, is able to get back to 100 HP, but Roughscar goes down. Too much pressure from all angles, as my boy Shio will say. Left, right, up, down, doesn't matter where they look, they were just getting too much, and now it all falls on Indreda's shoulders. This will be by far one of the lowest finishes they had throughout the entire tournament, and this is 2nd place once again. 6 HP and a dream, and that dream is being turned into a scary nightmare. Can they get it? Whoa, hold on just for a brief moment. And that's what FNCS comes all about, the brief moments. To be able to res your teammate Revsguard and Dreda, the classic duo, now have to hold on tight. It's not a Savage clutch that they need, and now it's a duo clutch of Indreda and Revsguard.
They'll try it. Red Rush Mappy Exterior still looking from the outside in. Indreda, their 2nd place ship, caught in a Bermuda triangle of pressure and stinks all around. Might be a shipwreck here in just a second. It's going to be so tough to get out of here, and they're not sure what's outside these walls. You can hear the footsteps too. The shield for Revsguard, he went down to Stink, so it still stays up for him. They get to save a lot on resources. In terms of the meds they have, they can see, I feel like, Revsguard through these walls. No, they're metal walls, and it'll be tough. Here comes all the pressure. They have to move. edit out right, but there's trios waiting outside too. 65 damage above, and they're still getting tagged. This is rough for Andretta and Refsguard for the moment. They're caught right back on storm line 2. Third zone moving in 45 seconds. This survival story has a timer. They not only have to escape this pressure, but then move in a time limit too. So this is going to be really strugglesome. 10 bills on Andretta 2. This is just too rough.
My oh my, the shoes on the other foot. We saw this engagement down in Lazy Lake, and we saw Andretta, Resguard, and Savage get a big key refresher off of Mappy's trio, and Mappy is just disengaging right now, leaving this trio on the island all by themselves with no life raft to be able to survive, and Storm Surge is raining down terror. 55 below, not enough minis to hold on, but Red Rush, he sees that, he's trying to capitalize, but some tags on Red Rush here. Resguard and Andretta here. It's all but a matter of time for them to be eliminated here in one of the second games, and the Raptor says hello, but Asterios is the ultimate king. He takes them down, and now Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy get revenge, and what an almost bad timing for Andretta, because Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are still on their feet, looking good, feeling good, breathing in that fresh air.
Fresh air, first place right now, watching in the feed, second go down. Refsguard and Andretta Savage are going to be one of the only top trios in the game right now not to be playing out this specific end game. This is a chance for a lot of people to catch up, but at the same time, a chance at the second last game of the EU finals for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky to really solidify that first place spot.
The only trio I think they have to be have to keep wary of is Vidil trio. Throughout the entire day, they've been playing height. They've already defended them once. They already got a huge bow shot to stop their push. So we have to keep an eye on what kind of position does Vidil trios have. But let's keep an eye on here on a third place team, Tayson.
Third place looking to take over second, but it's a 50-point gap they have to make up. Looking in for a big fight too. It's a Tomzy. Bloomy already a little bit affected. I think Percival's down. They're not going to be trading lives either. It's just damage. They pick up another. Find Percival. Looks like they found one more as well through the entire engagement. Haven't taken out the full trio, but they'll take those points. Let's talk about patterns and weaknesses for the two trios we were just talking about, Sancho, Queasy, and Vidil. For Vidil, once again, they're having bad games and then a victory royale, back to back to back. Their last game was just bad. They're slated to get a VR right now, especially we've been seeing them picking up eliminations all throughout the map. Now for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, their biggest weakness is having height like they have right now and not being aware of the lobby getting overtaken. This is a scary situation. The only games they've really choked and lost is when they actually have high ground. Their consistent games is where they play mid, they look fine. This is such a good spot for them. They look like kings right now. But that throne is definitely up for grabs. They have to be very, very vigilant. Think about Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas as well. This is not a pattern we've seen for an entire season, but these last two games usually is where they operate. They love the pressure. They like being in sixth place all the way behind. Now, it's a big gap. They're about 80 points away or 60 points away from the first place, Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky. But if they can catch up now, it has to be the time. They'll have to take them off of height as well.
Let me introduce some other foes of Queasy's way. You have Shadow's trio, who are known to be aggressive at height. You also have a trio in Hen right behind them, who in game 4 yesterday were able to flank them and sneak up here. So it all depends where the zone 5, half in and half out. You already see Noah Riley already invested here in about 0 seconds. Here we go. In about a minute, we're gonna see zone 5 revealed, and let's see if Queasy or Noah Riley or Shadow gets that first moving.
We'll talk about the zones in the map too as these guys drop down pressure. You'll see a bunch of eliminations come through. The more important thing is we haven't seen a Slurpee endgame zone just yet in these FNCS finals. We've seen Caddy multiple times, Lazy Lake multiple times. The Orchard, Spire in the middle as well has been big, and Vidil, Noah Riley like to operate there. Everyone has experience on all sides of the map. Over here though, the bottom left side of the map, we have not seen any of these teams have their take so far inside this lobby. This is going to be a brand new, fresh game. Noah Riley's looking for picks already. Thomas HD got some in the feed. Slender is still alive this game. All the trios we're used to seeing go down are up and ready. This is a completely fresh experience.
What a solid position right here. Look how much lobby is just coming their way from Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. They haven't been able to get there. There is finally a good knock on Dementos right there, but those are the valuable elimination points they could to close the gap, because they have a lot of work to do considering that Queasy's still up. Here we go. Zone 5 is about to be revealed. This is going to be huge for the second to last game here of the EU Finals. Let's see where it goes.
Checking out all sides of the map. Looks like people are starting to rotate in. It's towards this top right of Slurpy Swamp. Noah Riley basically have the gatekeep position, at least from their trio. I see one on absolute height. It might be Trulex. No, it's Exterios, who's all the way on high ground with Mappy and Red Rush. Somehow they find a way to get all the way up top. The consistent trio coming in throughout the day have kind of, you know, had a leg backwards. They're in 4th place right now. They have the best chance to catch up completely, but they have to fight Queasy, they have to fight Vidil. 3 different teams looking to have high and take this game.
My oh my, we're used to seeing the low ground and just seeing Trulix. Yes, the defense they saw in the VOD how they got flanked on. They're trying to discourage that high ground retake, because we all know it's basically so much free. That's to be an economy type of way to take that high ground from them, because they don't have to use all that. That's what Chapix is keeping an eye on before. But look, actually Flick is pushing on Noah Riley. They're trying to take this height away from them, and Noah Riley's doing all that he can to stop it.
Every team from 3rd to 10th is trying to find a way to get back into this tournament, get back to the 1st place slot. Right now for Anas, it'll be going straight to Noah Riley's box. A big pump comes in to trade. Thomas HD is keeping this team's dreams alive, but he's the only one left up with 19 HP. Landed a big pump, didn't get a full finish on the Elam either. This height take did not work out, and their chances for 1st place are definitely on the line.
Thomas HD could definitely clutch that situation. He's done it in previous season. He's going to have one of the biggest clutches. But look, Height's in trouble. Trulix Jerky goes down, and Queasy has been put down to low ground. He is in shambles. Queasy doesn't want to be down here. The air is not just too dense for them. His lungs are used to clean air. Queasy now, he has to do all that he can to hold on. This is the 1st place team going down, and placement points are well out, getting doled.
This might be the most important clutch of Queasy's career in general. The longer he stays alive, the more of a gap he makes between him and Savage, who went down so much earlier. It's all about placement points for that team right now, but for Exterios, Mappy, and Red Rush, it's all about the catch-up. If Queasy goes down as well, it basically becomes a foot race for every top 10 team to close that gap, but it's all down to him. 15 different teams alive right now. That placement will come in every single time one goes down. Queasy moving forward, only soft mats, 400 builds. He's looking to harpoon any type of materials, but every edit he opens is an invitation for more beams to come from any direction that he's looking at. A big shot right in front. He dodges it, goes towards low ground. He's still moving in. He is getting more placement. Thomas HD is down. He has a little bit, but he's taken out now. For every other team up right now, it's a chance for contention, a chance to catch up to the 1st and 2nd